Of the various types of travel that I do, solo travel is one of them. One of my biggest trips that I ever took, my first trip I ever took to New Zealand was a solo travel trip. I've also solo traveled around China, Southeast Asia, America, South America, parts of Europe. So here's what you need to know about solo traveling if you are thinking of doing some trips and travels on your own. Now, why, you might ask, in this day and age, would you ever want to travel solo? Well, sometimes we don't really have an option. Sometimes you want to travel with other people, but nobody really wants to travel with you. A more realistic situation is that nobody can afford or take time off work, or the schedule just doesn't work. Like, your life schedule is moving like this and other people's life schedules are going like this, and they just can't intersect for this trip that you want to take now. Hence the reason to travel solo. The other reason is because we can do what we want. We can do whatever it is that we want to do on our trips, and it is amazing. There is no better feeling in the world than being like, hey, I want to go out and explore this city today. This is the beauty of solo travel. You do what you want, you eat what you want, you cry when you want to, you sleep in when you want to, you pool when you want to. Literally anything that you want to do, you can do it, because this is you traveling by yourself. You may have all the options in the world available to you when you solo travel. Pack light, because it's only you and only you carrying everything, so you're not a pack mule. Have the essentials. First aid kits are very, very important, and then all your other types of things like rain gear. Make sure you pack thoroughly. You have to spend a bit more time packing if you are doing a solo travel trip than you would if you were traveling with other people. Problem solving. Solo travel is a lot of problem solving, and the more problems that you solve, the better you get at solving them. Okay, the more you travel solo, the better you get at being a solo traveler. The key is to trust in your natural abilities to solve these problems. Think of it like this. If you were in your own town, like you were literally in your own town right now, and you wanted to go for food, how would you know where to go? Where would you look? Well, it's the same thing in a foreign country. You'd probably Google it or research on a restaurant app. If you wanted to spend the night in your hometown, you wanted to get an accommodation, what would you do? Well, you'd probably look for hotels in your hometown, and then you'd look for reviews, and then you'd book it, and that's where you'd stay. The exact same concepts apply when you are in foreign countries, believe it or not. So just taking those skills and your confidence in being able to problem solve those situations, or how to get from A to B, and then applying them when you're in a foreign country, just in a different atmosphere. The same skill set, different country. Act confident. Act like you know what you are doing, and the scammers will be less likely to bug you. If you were trying to scam someone, would you go to someone who's like, that looks very confident, knows where they're going, knows what they're doing? Or would you go to someone that's like nervous and like fiddling their thumbs and like, oh, I don't know where I should go, I don't know about this? Walk with a purpose and try to blend in as much as possible. This is the time to be inconspicuous with your jewelries and your clothing. This is a time to not stand out, especially when you're solo traveling. You want to blend in and act like a local and look like a local as much as you possibly can. Determine your comfort zone. It is okay not to know this right away, because there's no right and wrong way to travel. Traveling solo doesn't mean you have to take these crazy overnight buses and ridiculous foreign cities and just do all of these 5-hour hikes by yourself. Traveling solo doesn't mean you have to travel solo for your whole trip. You can easily mix up and add an organized tour group here and there in between your travels to kind of add into the mix, so you're not traveling solo for your entire trip. Maybe there's certain parts or certain cities or countries that you don't feel comfortable traveling solo in. Well, maybe you should do an organized tour there in between your solo travel trip. So it's like organized tour with other people, and it's planned as well, and then other solo excursions for the next leg of your journey. Speaking of tour groups are great for solo travelers. And believe it or not, are actually better when you are a solo traveler. One of the reasons for that is because it forces you out of your comfort zone, and it makes you have to make friends. Because if you're traveling in an organized tour group with another friend, you're just gonna like automatically resort to hanging out with them instead of like having to like force yourself out of your comfort zone to meet new people, which is so much fun. And most tour groups are composed of solo travelers anyway. So no, seriously, it's like 60% solo travelers on organized tour groups. So everyone's kind of in the same boat. So everyone's like meshing together, trying to make friends and plan awesomeness travels It's really great. It's really great. So I enjoy tour groups as a solo traveler. Hostels. Hostels are hands down the best place for solo travelers. It's gonna feel very isolated and lonely if you are constantly staying in hotels or Airbnbs or private rooms if you are a solo traveler. This is where the loneliness aspect of solo travel kicks in, when you are constantly staying by yourself. So when you stay in a hostel, one, you're probably gonna stay in a dorm room, so you automatically have roommates, which, you know, that may or may not be to your personal preference, but it's great because it's like social interaction. Forceful social interaction. No, seriously, hostels are amazing. And also people are just really, really welcoming and warming in hostels, where that's what I've personally found. So you can usually like sit down at like a big table and chat with people and talk about where to go and where you want to go and just get to know and have a great time and just not feel like you're always solo traveling. Learning to say no and when to say no. Yeah. When you travel by yourself, you are a lot more approachable as a person. This goes in any country, really. You will find that you get approached a lot more as a solo traveler. This could be something as like trying to help you with directions, trying to like guide you to where you need to go, you know, just asking you, why are you traveling by yourself? Silly questions like this, as well as trying to sell you something. Learning to say no is a skill, and it takes a bit of time to practice because you need to say it stern and meaningful in certain situations. You have to learn to be confident in your no's. You gotta learn to not be afraid to tell someone to leave you alone. I know, right? You think you'd be alone all the time when you're solo traveling? Not the case. And while I'm a big advocate of saying yes to opportunities and adventures, you also really do have to learn when it is time to say no. You won't get lonely, you really won't get lonely. But you have to open up and you have to learn to be the instigator, the one that starts up the conversation, even if it's as simple as saying, "Hi, I'm Nadine, what's your name?" Literally, it's that simple, and you've got a conversation started. Eating alone. Again, the best way to try and get around this is hostels, because hostels generally have kitchens where you can cook your own food and socialize with other people cooking their own food. And then you can sit down at a big table with all the people that have cooked their own food and eat with them. And so suddenly you're not eating by yourself, you're eating with many other people. Also, food courts and street markets are amazing as a solo traveler because they're just, well, one, they're everywhere in the world, and two, they're open markets full of a variety of amazing, delicious local foods that are just like takeaways. They're like a takeaway style. So you just come up, you order it right away, you get your plates, and then there's benches already there for you to eat. Tons and tons of people go there to grab a quick bite to eat on the way from work, or just to generally eat in their day-to-day lives. They're very, very popular in lots of places around the world, and it's usually cheaper food there anyways, which is a bonus. So you're just sitting with a bunch of other locals who are probably by themselves as well, or other travelers by themselves, and you're at tables with a bunch of other people, so you're not really like eating by yourself. It's just a lot less awkward. So if you are eating by yourself, try and bring a book or a phone to the table so you can at least read or do something on your phone. Or better yet, you could start up a conversation with the waitstaff. No, really, if you don't want to be completely antisocial, talk to the waitstaff, see how they're doing, ask them a few questions. As long as it's not too busy, because if it's too busy, they're probably not going to want to talk to you. And if all else fails, sit at the bar, because that's literally what bars are for. Single and solo people to sit at and to eat food and beverage, and it to be not awkward at all. Safety! Yes, of course safety is a thing when solo traveling. So make sure that somebody at home has a general idea of your schedule and where you're going to be at like any given day. They don't have to know like to the T, like every hour where you're going to be, but they should know at least where you're staying every night and what country, and like maybe a few activities or something that you're doing. Just somebody should know approximately where you are. Plus, as a solo traveler, you have to be extra aware of your surroundings, meaning your personal bubble space and maybe a few more, like 5 more meters at least around you, you need to be aware of what's going on. You have to be super, super alert and just paying attention. And I don't mean being like paranoid, I mean just being aware of what is going on around you. Or having something else like a whistle or a personal alarm. I actually carry both with me, a whistle in my backpack and a personal alarm device. Don't be a vampire. They aren't very good solo travelers. No, really, make sure you are planning your travels to and from A to B during the daytime, because nighttime, no matter what country you're in, is significantly more dangerous as a solo traveler. And going out at night, because alcohol is a very tricky and unpredictable substance. Because getting drunk and stumbling home in the middle of the night is not a good idea in any country as a solo traveler, or as a solo person, or as a single person by yourself. Always have a working phone with you. Now, if you are traveling with some friends or with another person, this isn't as important, but as a solo traveler, please, 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 have a way to contact somebody or anybody if you are lost, if you are scared, if you need directions, if you can't find something. Like, this is just like safety 101, being able to reach out, because when you're with other people, they can go for help if you get injured or something. But if you're by yourself, this is what you have. That's all you have. We live in the age of cellular technology. Take advantage of it. Smartphones didn't exist in the 60s when hippies were roaming around traveling the world by themselves. Only travel solo and alone if you really feel like you are ready to travel solo. Now, what I mean by this is that yes, it's totally normal to be scared and nervous on your first solo trip or on any solo trip. But if you are so scared and nervous that you were like physically making yourself ill, that you were getting night sweats, that you were just dreading your trip or worried about everything that's gonna happen as a solo traveler, then maybe you're not quite ready to do a solo travel trip yet, or at least that solo travel trip that you're fretting about. And last, always trust your gut. It is surprisingly good at knowing when you should or shouldn't do something. Listen to it, hear it out. Generally, your gut knows a lot. If you're getting that like weird feeling that something isn't right, something's probably not right. Unless it's after a big meal, in which case it's probably just gurgling. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching this video. I hope you learned lots, and I'm really excited to hear about you. Have you done any big solo trips before? Have you done any solo travels before? Are you planning to do any solo travels? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm really interested to hear your guys and gals stories. Thanks so much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more travel advice, tips, and videos, and I'll see you guys again in a few days' time. Bye!